From Forex Traders Daily, this is your daily analysis with Ross Mullins, live from Richmond, Virginia.
Hello everyone, this is today's video analysis for September 2nd, 2016. In today's video, I just want to do a quick overview of each of the U.S. currency pairs as we anticipate significant U.S. news coming up at 8:30 a.m. Eastern U.S. time, about 35 minutes from the recording of this video. So keep that in mind. We're watching that news for new trading opportunities. Until then, probably won't be doing much of anything until we get through that news. Starting here on the USD CHF, we've been studying the trend pattern within the range highlighted by the black box. You can see the trend lines, black and blue trend lines, each rise and fall that this currency pair has made. Over the past several weeks, we've been in a rise phase, the blue trend line on the far right-hand side. The question, of course, is what's the news going to do for the U.S. franc today? We take it down to the 4-hour time frame. You can see it's just been kind of stagnant here since falling yesterday. After yesterday's U.S. news, we fell back down here into the 97.90 or so level. Just been kind of stagnant ever since then. Positive news today out of the U.S. If we get positive earnings news, jobs news, and whatnot, we'll look for this to go back up, likely back to the purple or even the green shaded area at the top of the chart. Negative news likely breaks down through 97.90, sending it back lower down towards the yellow or the blue shaded area at the bottom of the chart, maybe even breaking back through the blue trend line on the way back down. So positive or negative, we know what's going to happen. It's either going to go above the orange zone to go up with positive news, below the orange zone to go down with negative news out of the U.S. for the U.S. franc. Take a look at the euro dollar. Similar situation. We have been studying quite a large range here. If we zoom it out quite a bit, you can see the red box here on the daily time frame. Zooming it back in, I think a couple of things interesting about the daily time frame is the fact that we're underneath and just underneath the 100 period moving average. Take a look, the green line inside the yellow shaded area. That's a 100 period simple moving average. We're just underneath that. If the market finds resistance here and we get positive U.S. data today, we look for this to go down, finding resistance, falling back down towards the green or even a much lower low here for the euro dollar. If we get negative news, the breakout above the 100 period moving average, above the yellow zone, sends this back higher again. So positive news sends it back lower. Negative news sends this euro dollar back higher again. Very interesting area right here where that 100 period moving average is. We'll see what happens with the news today. We know what we can expect, but we have to wait to see what the news does for this currency pair today. Taking it down to the daily time frame on the GBP USD, you can see the large range that we've been studying since the Brexit news over here. We've been in this range, the black box down here at the bottom. We're at the very top, so I've been very discouraged about buying and going long while we're up at the green and the pink shaded area, the very top of this range towards the pink shaded area, because obviously it's found resistance here quite a while since the Brexit news. So difficult to go long until one of two things happens. It goes down or it breaks through that barrier. And let's zoom it in down to the 4-hour time frame. Again, there's that pink shaded area. There's the top of that box. If we get some negative news out of the U.S., breaking through the top of that pink shaded area, the top of the black box, and the 33.40 level, we likely look for a new high to be made here for the pound dollar. If we get some positive news out of the U.S. today, we'll look for it to stay underneath here and probably look for clues and evidence of reversal for the pound dollar today. Take it over to the U.S. CAD. Similar situation. We've seen a range here. Look at the black box here on the daily time frame. Resistance at the top, yellow and orange shaded area at the top of the range. We've seen it quite a long time, but going back into May now, we've seen resistance, orange and yellow shaded areas up here into the upper 131s towards 132. We're there again. So if we get some positive news for the U.S., again, that affects this currency pair and the fact that it would go above here and start working its way higher again. Negative news, we look for the market to stay underneath here. Tricky situation today on the U.S. CAD is the fact that we have Canadian trade balance news at the same time. So that could be interesting. We've also seen oil on a significant fall over the past few days, which gives this a rise as well. If oil continues to go down, we get positive news out of the U.S., let's look for the breakout to the top side of this range and the continuation of an uptrend for the U.S. CAD. Take it over to the U.S. yen, and we've been obviously in a long-term downtrend. You can see that with the blue trend line. One of two things is going to happen. We've discussed this in the trade room. It's either going to break the trend line and go up, or find resistance and go down. You see the little two red trend lines down here? So those are one of the two things that can happen here. Zooming in on the daily time frame, again, we've seen resistance at the orange zone, supported the green zone for the past couple of days. Positive news out of the U.S. We look for the potential of a bounce off of this green zone, challenging the orange shaded area and a break of the blue trend line in the orange shaded area, we look for this to start working its way back higher again. That's positive news out of the U.S. Negative news, resistance at the orange shaded area, breaking the green zone. We look for reversal once again to go back down in the direction of the long-term downtrend for the U.S. yen. Take it over here to the AUD USD, Australian US dollar. We've seen a couple of different trends. First off, weekly time frame. Of course, we've studied this long-term downtrend in the live daily trade room. Long-term downtrend there. That's interesting information. Take it back to the 4-hour time frame. Zoom it in, or sorry, daily time frame. Zoom it in. Green trend line's been an uptrend. Black trend line's been a downtrend. Short-term downtrend. Mid-term uptrend here. So the question is, what's going to happen today? Let's take it on down to the well, let's leave it here on the daily. Let's zoom it in a little bit. We've seen a little bit of a rally. We saw the push under the yellow zone, thought it was going to go down from there. Market had a little bit of a different idea, now back above the yellow shaded area. If we can get some positive news out of the U.S. today, we probably will look for the break underneath that yellow zone and finally a turn back down towards the orange shaded area down here. That would be positive news for the U.S. Sends this back down towards the orange zone and into the 74s once again. Negative news, we're probably looking for the continuation of this reversal back above the pink zone. We're back into the upper 76 towards 7,700. So negative news sends it back higher. Positive news sends it back under the yellow zone and lower again for the Australian dollar today. And lastly, over to the NZD, we'll take a look at this long-term uptrend. We can see we're at the very top of the trend, so discouraged about going long at the top of a trend because there's a very good likelihood of resistance. We've seen it. Take a zoom in here a couple of times. You can see resistance towards the pink and the orange zone at the top of the range for quite a long time. So I'm discouraged about going long until I see a breakout. I'd like to see the breakout above that pink zone to start going long again here on this currency pair. Otherwise, as long as it stays underneath it, I think obviously since June we've seen resistance here. So very difficult to go long. So positive news. If we get some positive news out of the U.S., finally we'll see the breakdown and likely under the green zone and underneath that black box. Sorry about that. Underneath that black box in the green shaded area, we'll look for a reversal once again for this to go back down. If we get negative news, it breaks the pink zone and goes higher. So what we're looking for is some significant news to break outside this little black box that we see here. We've been stuck inside this black box for a couple of weeks now. So we need some positive or negative news to break outside this range. If we can do that, we'll look for a little bit of a continuation for the New Zealand dollar over the coming weeks.
From Forex Traders Daily, this has been your daily analysis with Ross Mullins. If you would like to get Ross's analysis on all the currency pairs he's watching and all the trades he takes today, join him in his live trade room by clicking on the link below. Please leave any comments you have about today's video in the comments section below.